Hey guys, and welcome to the Natty Blueprint Podcast. This is episode 70. We hope everyone is well and enjoying the UK heat. As you can see, we have got two very, very special guests on today, both Dan and Corey. Gentlemen, the dust has settled after a very, very busy and some would say greedy season. How you both doing?
Going down.
Yeah, you go, bro.
Good, really, really good. I think the season planned out basically everything that we hope for and more, which is always exactly the way you want a first prep to go for your clients. So yeah, all good and just enjoying the reverse phase now for Corey. Yeah.
Good stuff. Corey,
But
how you
yeah,
doing, my man?
yeah, it's been good, mate. Yeah, very interesting first season. One that was a one full of crazy emotions. I can't lie, but yeah, handling the reverse well, and everything's going good. Yeah,
Good man, good man. So, Dan, I thought I'd start with you, mate. Just kind of diving into a little bit of your bodybuilding background. I know you've competed before.
Yeah.
So, do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself, mate? How you kind of got into it and then maybe getting into competing as well?
Yeah, of course. So I've trained for probably, I'm 28 now, so about 10 years. But in that period of time, I'd probably say 7 of those years were just, training, going out, drinking, enjoying myself, and just kind of like living that younger life that you do. And then I got my first coach when I was 25. Um, I just wanted to do better. I wanted to do more. I was tired of that lifestyle. So decided to go straight into the deep end, did a prep. From there, I did WNBF first timers. I came second, as a close second. But then we did a 4 month hold, and then I did do supernaturals at the end of that period of time. So it's a pretty long period of time to hold for. But I wanted to do the hardy shows. I wanted to put myself into a British final scenario where you can test yourself against the best, and definitely think it was a worthwhile first season. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So, what kind of like did you just kind of get into the gym through like sporting background, or was it just like when you were a teen, just kind of getting in there and just seeing how it goes with your mates, or?
A bit of both, really. So I played football, as everyone does, from a young age. Tore my ACL. Yeah, and then just got to an age where I just kind of like got to a point where found alcohol, found a bit of enjoyment in that, and then kind of parked football for a period of time. Went to uni, had the fun, and then like I said, I've always been in the gym, always trained, always been quite a athletic person, and then always been told you've got a great physique, you put on muscle quite easily. Never really took it serious, just kind of said, oh yeah, whatever, I'm enjoying my life. And then I got to an age where I thought, I'm going to the gym, I'm busting my ass every single day. What's the point doing all of it to come back in the next week and then be weaker because of, alcohol and partying? So just decided to lock in, take it all more serious, which then resulted in me um, getting a coach, and through that, influence, started coaching myself. And then here we are today with Corey, yeah.
Nice, nice. So, Corey, what's your background, mate? Where have you come from, basically, my man? Because yeah, you kind of came out of nowhere. Obviously, I chatted with you guys at shows and stuff. I know you wanted to go last season, kind of put that off, and then decided to go this season. So, yeah,
yeah.
dive into your background, mate. How you kind of got into things.
Kind of similar to Dan, really. Obviously, everyone starts off playing football, don't they? I think that was like a big aim for me as a kid. I wanted to be the best footballer I could be, but in and around that, obviously, I was always surrounded by a lot of my family do play rugby, so I've always been influenced with the gym anyway at a very young age. And then yeah, when it just got to a point where you kind of just go off other people's opinions. Everyone's like, bloody hell, mate, you've got an incredible physique. Have you ever thought about bodybuilding and as such? So I feel like once I started to really dial in with the gym and start to see like serious improvements, it kind of gave me a little bit of a belief to think, oh, maybe I can go on and actually make a dent in bodybuilding, to be fair. So I feel like when I went traveling for 3 months, and when I came back from there, it was just a case of got in with Dan and just get into good shape again. And we managed to we did a photo shoot, didn't we? I think, which was about a 12 week,
Yeah.
16 week cut. And once we got the results back from that, really, it was just a case of Jesus Christ, like we could definitely take this physique to stage and be competitive as well. So I feel like once after that photo shoot, it kind of definitely then gave me the belief to go on and think I could make a stint in this game. So yeah, it's just been upwards from there, really, hasn't it, mate?
Excellent, excellent. So how did you guys meet? Was it in the gym or was it, outside the gym?
Well, we've probably known each other for 7 years, but it probably was in a party environment, just
Yeah.
going out. We've got similar friends, mutual friends, and then just met, and like we are today, literally click straight away, and two peas in a pod, pretty much do everything together, literally. So, yeah.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
When obviously you said, Dan, when you transitioned into sort of getting a bit more into the gym, obviously your friend group from before, you mentioned Corey, but did some of those friends kind of follow you or did you leave them behind? Did people get into the gym at the same time as you?
Well, I trained way before I met Corey, but I think we had a friendship group which we all went out with, events, festivals, holidays, and it did get to a point where I just felt like that life just wasn't serving me anymore. I'd come back from holidays, anxious, not feeling that great, not sleeping for weeks, and I just got to a point where I thought, there's just more to life than partying every single weekend, wrecking your body. You only get one body, so why treat mine the way I was? And I think that's kind of where me and Corey really, really started to come even closer because he's probably the only person who kind of viewed it from the same perspective. So we've still got friends now who, are out, a lot, which is, the path they've chosen, but good luck to them and enjoying that period of their life. But for me, it wasn't what I wanted to do anymore. So I think through that, both of us kind of bounced off each other, had the same objective, same ambition, and we train really hard. So I think when you find someone that you can train with that has that same kind of drive as you, it's always someone you want to keep hold of. So yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
nice. Do you
Nice.
have any like kind of, I guess, negative comments like you was kind of leaving that group? Not obviously you probably still see some of those lads, but
Yeah.
did you have anything like, oh, you're boring, you're this, you're that? Because obviously
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
who struggle with that, like where they've got that pressure either from family or friends to not pursue it, or I don't know, you feel like you're doing something that's just a bit strange. Because obviously what we do is a bit strange from the outside.
Yeah, there's definitely two slants to that. I think in terms of like the pressure from your friends, you do get it. I was always out. I was a present figure in that that circle. And then when you start to do different things, spend weekends fresh, not out all the time, you did get the comments. Of course you did. But for me, it's never been something that bothers me. I will do something as long as I want to do it. And the minute it doesn't serve a purpose for me, I'm more than happy to deal with the consequences of what that does. I think people come into your life for the right reasons and they leave for the right reasons as well. So I'm more than happy with that. But I do think as well with the family side of it, it is an alien concept. It's so extreme bodybuilding. And when you're weighing everything to a gram and you look extremely autistic when you do the stuff like that. But the whole has to be exactly the way that you want it in this order. And yeah, I think you do get some friction from that. But I think the longer you do it and the more they can see how much you enjoy it and what you're getting from it, I think they will start to buy into that process more. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. So when it came to, obviously you guys were friends, I'm assuming training partners as well prior to the
Always.
coaching. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
awesome. So when it came to you coaching Corey then, obviously you've got this dynamic, right, as your bros, your pals, you kind of shoot the shit here and there. How did you deal with that coaching to client relationship? Obviously the respect's there from friends, but how did you kind of separate those two hats of like, now we're mates, now you're a client, now I'm the coach?
Um, I think in general with me and Corey, like it's always been a very open, brutally honest relationship. Corey knows me as a person. I'm never going to beat around the bush. If you want to do something, if you want to pursue a certain avenue, you need to accept that, I've got to take that kind of role with you where I'm not always going to say to you, as a friend, I might say one thing, if you're out partying for a weekend or, have some fun. As your coach, knowing your goals, I'm going to advise you on what the best path for you is. So I don't think we've ever really struggled in that sense. I think Corey understands the separation between the two. And, now it comes out as prep. We get the summer together, we watch England, we have some fun. It's those different stages in the relationship. I think we both know how to sort of navigate that.
Yeah. It's always a thing because I think like Denny, we had we actually became better friends. So I used to coach Denny. He funny enough, sacked me. But we became better mates through the coaching relationship, and then we
Yeah.
were always able to separate that. Corey, are you kind of in the same agreement with what Dan's saying? You were always able to be the client and, take his
Yeah,
objective opinion?
100%. It's like we have that good of a relationship, and our communication's just on points where it's like, even when, say, obviously there are negative sides to it where he's like, listen, mate, you need to dig in a little bit here and as such, whereas I can just accept that, do you know what I mean, and crack on from an athlete point of view, and it doesn't worry me in any kind of sense about our friendship, do you know what I mean? Because I know it's coming from a coaching standpoint, and I am an athlete, so listen, if you get told to do something, you do something. Do you know what I mean? It's like you get the blueprint, you've just got to follow it and do the work at the end of the day, and you will get the results.
Yeah,
For
and
sure.
obviously being friends as well, it's coming from a good place as well. Like there's
Yeah,
that
100%.
on top of as well.
Yeah, I think
Mm.
even like to touch on that, like the psychological point of view of, I think we get the benefits of me knowing Corey pretty much inside out. So I can just see him without him saying a word. I know essentially what he's feeling, what he needs at that moment. So I actually think that being as close as we are makes, the success what it was, because I literally could read him, all the
Yeah.
feedback that, you'd expect a client that sometimes you don't get. There's always sometimes a gap between what you want to know and what they tell you. But with Corey, it's never been a problem at all now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like those psychological triggers that can get the best out of him. And as a coach, obviously, when you're
Mm.
onboarding people online, maybe you haven't met them in person, it's very difficult in the initial sense to
Yeah,
learn how that person operates. And you have to. I always say this on the podcast. You communicate with clients differently. Like I'm not
yeah,
going to say the way I
Mm.
communicated with Denny for his prep and the guys I've got in prep now and the females I've prepped, like it's always been different levels of
yeah,
communication in terms of I can tell one of my clients, hey, look, you need more here, this it needs more time. But then some of the people you have to kind of say in a more polite way rather than a blunt manner. So yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
it's cool that you've kind of developed that. So do you want to dive in to the season then? Obviously, it was a very successful season, so I'll let one of you kind of take the reins there and tell
Go
us
for it,
how your
Chance.
season
Go
went.
for it.
You want me to take the reins on that one?
Go for it, champ. It was yours.
Yeah. So originally, there was a lot of noise, obviously, once I'd finished the three shows that we had planned. Obviously, everyone telling you to do this show, do that show, and are you competing in this show? But I feel like from our point is we set out what we wanted to do. We set out certain goals, and I feel like we just ticked them off one by one. Obviously, the PCA shows, we were always going to plan on doing the back to back, so it was always the first timers and then the naturals the day after, and then finish with the UK DFBA. So from that point on the Saturday, obviously going up against the assisted athletes, it was never a case of even putting myself in with the overall at first. It was just get in the class and kind of make a statement and then see where we kind of fall in them for the natural show and the day after. So the Saturday first timers event couldn't have gone any better. Yeah, winning the class and then obviously going into the overall against some serious athletes as well. Can I just say? A lot more size than me, I'd say in some departments, but I feel like structure, shape, and conditioning all just kind of worked in my favour at the end of the day. And then so yeah, same again on the Sunday. Really, we went in. Obviously, I was a little bit more confident as well on the Sunday after gaining a little bit of stage presence on the Saturday and kind of just seeing how the whole federation was kind of run as well. Which I must say, PCA shows are very very good, and I would more than likely be 100% doing another one of them in my next season because yeah, I just loved it. I loved every minute of the PCA shows. I thought it was run very smoothly, and they cater very well to the athletes as well, which I thought was really good. But yeah, and then we
Yeah.
obviously then finished with the UK DFBA, which happened to be the longest show in the world. I think it was about 14 hours in total, weren't it? Before from obviously registering to then stepping on stage and then yeah, 2.5 hour drive home after it. It kind of made it all worthwhile, obviously, once we won. But yeah, I've got to say it was a very, very long day. But yeah, the rewards kind of made it miles better.
Leading up to that first show, like, kind of, what was your headspace? Was there? Obviously, you mentioned you was more confident going into the second one, but kind of how did you feel going into it being your first
Yeah, I
show?
was. I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty nervous, obviously, because with it being my first ever show, obviously you've always got that constant doubt in the back of your head, like when you're sending over your shots. Obviously, peak week, it's like, do I look on? Are we there? Are we ready? But I can't thank Dan enough, to be honest, though, because he knows what I'm like. I do like to, I do stress quite a little bit at the little things, but it's always nice just having him there, you know, to keep you cool and just to kind of almost assure you that we're in the right spot. We're looking like everything's just as it should be. So yeah, I was very confident. I must say I wasn't shying away from it. I just kind of I felt like we'd been focusing and working towards that certain goal for such a long period of time that when the day come, it was just get out there and enjoy it more than anything, and just put on a show for everyone.
Nice.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed when I saw you both at Tannin on the Saturday morning. Like I was like Dan, obviously you being the coach, I was like, you're going to be a lot more talkative than potentially your first, like the client on stage being a first timer. But you were both just very chilled out and relaxed, which was really
Yeah,
nice to see, because sometimes you talk to first timers and they can't get a sentence out because the
Yeah.
nerves are just there. But you both seemed very, very chilled out and very prepared for the day, so it was great to see. Dan, how did you feel? Was Corey the first client on stage? Your first client?
Yeah, my first ever client. So I was like a first time coach going into that show as well, which was good. Yeah,
Nice, yeah. Way to set the winning record, eh?
I know. Yeah, I lost that with. I lost.
Put that in your Instagram bio straight away. 100% win record,
Used to go in.
100% overall record. How about that? But yeah,
uh,
how did you feel? Obviously, your first client on stage.
Um, I think it's funny because when you start coaching, there's a big thing made about peaking, like it's some magical strategy, and I think that when you come in, I think the main thing for me was just making sure that he was ready. And I think that when you have someone ready, and with the pose and we practiced for so long before, obviously I had Isaac Francis and Kez both as a coach when I was a first timer, so I was confident that we could get Corey in a really good spot. So we just practiced posing and drilled it for literally months ahead.
yeah,
Probably you can say like 6, 7 months. I know at times he hated me because I was always picking up on certain little things and saying, I want this, I want that. At the time, it's
yeah,
probably hard to see that coming from that place where it was, when you go into overalls, which I knew he was going to be near, looking at him for his whole prep, that's the difference maker. And with the UK DFBA, that show, for instance, he literally come off the stage after his class win, come straight back
yeah,
on. I turned around to my coach and celebrated, and he went, he's back on. And I was like, fucking hell. So he turned around and he was back on. So it's those moments where, all the stamina from the rounds that
yeah.
I've been making him do back to back going to start to pay dividends. So yeah, I think going back to your question, I was nervous. I think, it's all well and good looking at the theory of peaking until you actually have to do it practically. I think that's where you really see if you can either do this job in a competitive sense or you can't. So I think for me, it was much like Corey, the first show, I felt that sense of relief, like, okay, under pressure, we can handle it. So yeah, it was a good day, a really, really good day.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think that's spoken about enough, actually. What you just highlighted is the coach's pressure to absolutely nail the client. It's difficult because the more clients you have in and compete, like the more you deal with that pressure. But it like you still feel it. Every single client that I have on stage, I'm like, I want them to nail it. But
Yeah.
of course, the result is completely out of your hand. But you just think to yourself, like, as long as they look good on stage, that's my job done. But yeah, that pressure, I think that's probably not spoken about enough in this industry, because I think,
No.
coaches, we love to celebrate the wins and everything like that, but there is a massive load of pressure that does come with it.
I think it was
For
for me,
sure.
it was on the night before his show. I went round, had a look at him, did some final tweaks, and he said to me, he said, I feel, happy with the look. And that for me was like, okay, like obviously you still got to make him actually peak for show day. But when your client the night before is confident, happy, not threatened, thinking I'm too flat, I need this, I need that, that's where, you know, you've essentially done the majority of the work. So I was just relieved when, you know, he looked at himself, I looked at him and said, yeah, he's on and he's ready to go tomorrow. So yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, that's always like a sense of relief in a way, isn't it?
Massive.
Even though like as well from a first timer, it's kind of like their opinion isn't objective because they're obviously
Mm.
looking at well sometimes even if you're an experienced athlete, you still get your prep goggles. But for a for someone who is going into their first show to be like, yeah, I look good, and then it just kind of gives you that sense of relief where you're like, okay, you're going to be good tomorrow because that stress drop off as well
Yeah.
for him and also you as a coach. You're just going to look better in the morning in general, just from the less stress going into it.
Oh,
Mm.
stress is massive. And looking back
Yeah.
at my first show, I think that was something I struggled with. I was on my feet all day, running around, not sure what time I was on, and you don't realize until you've been a bit deeper into this game that when someone's stressed, their body's just not responsive to carbs. It's not going to stick. They're not going to try to get a pump as well. So I think that again, just keeping Corey calm through the whole process, but particularly the night before on the day, was definitely a good factor that helped him for sure.
Definitely, definitely. So, fellas, what's the future plans then?
Go on, Corey.
We went through a little bit of a brief discussion about it, didn't we? The other day. Obviously, we've set out new workout plan, obviously to bring up a few weaknesses over this next 12 months. So yeah, the plan is to at least take probably 12 months out, just build, and then come back bigger and better, hopefully. Because I don't want to come back and on my pro debut and just be a number. We said this. I want to be able to come back and kind of almost make a statement like I did with my first season. I want to be up there and competitive. So that is our aim over the next 12 months, is build a physique that is going to be competitive in the pro leagues.
Would you say since you've competed, it's kind of up the ante in terms of your drive and your want to bodybuild, I guess?
Yeah, 100%. It's like if I didn't love the process before, I'm definitely in love with it now. It's like almost kind of completely changed my life in terms of like how I actually run my life on a day to day now. Like Dan said, obviously we were once for going out on a weekend, having a drink, having a party with old mates. Whereas like I feel like that's just not my life anymore. Yeah, I strive. I have bigger goals now. I strive to be a little bit better within myself as well, which is just helped. Yeah, no, you got to understand. It's like when you want to, you have your little niggles of falling back into that lifestyle. It's like what is it actually going to benefit towards you? Like it's not gonna make me any closer to the goals that I want to achieve. So yeah, it's just a case of a completely different lifestyle for me now. But I couldn't love it anymore, to be honest.
Sick. Yeah.
So, obviously you spoke about a pro debut. Where's that looking? The UK, obviously the UK FBA route. You've got kind of routes internationally as well to go to. Where's that
Yeah,
going? Where's that heading?
I think MBW is probably the main one. I think, isn't it? That I want to do. Yeah, I'd love to be on an MBW stage. So that's definitely on the cards. And yeah, we'll probably. We've not really spoke about shows as such, but I feel like obviously probably a few more pro qualifiers to warm up at the start, maybe a WNBF or a PCA, and then yeah, look towards probably a UK DFBA, British champ, and then MBW. So yeah, let's see how we get on, yeah, with them.
And Dan, when are you competing next?
For me, it will be next year. So it will be back end British final, straight into the deep end again. But going back for that almost revenge, I would say. I think you've got to look at it that way. Obviously, we do this, regardless of the result, but we're all competitive. We all like to win. So you're going back there next time, showing people that you're much improved. So I'm hoping to do. Well, I definitely will be doing supernaturals. I actually have my eye on NBW as well because it's such a good show. Like we watched it on live stream last year, and I think that is already showing, what natural bodybuilding is starting to do. The eyes on it, especially in these past couple of years, like some of the guys that you see in their teams that are coming through are ridiculously good. So I think that it's just putting eyes on the sport in the right way from a natural sense. So I definitely want to do MBW. But I was a bit of a WMBF bang out the first year. I just did 2 shows and it was WMBF. So I definitely want to spread out across some federations, do a PCA because, as Corey said, it's so well run. And yeah, probably UKDFBA to qualify for MBW as well. So that's probably what I planned. And actually, I want to do an international show. So WMBF Worlds is something that I'm really, really keen on doing as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Would that be a route, Corey, you'd want to go down as well? Because it sounds like you're both going to be... Oh, we've lost him.
Oh, lost him.
There we go. Podcast done.
He didn't want to answer that one.
He didn't want to answer that one. He just logged off. Okay, so redirecting it back to you then, Dan. When it comes to you wanting to do WMBF Worlds, you've obviously got a client. I'm assuming you might have another couple of clients competing next year, or
Yeah.
So it's going to be your kind of first season being in prep yourself, and then also managing contest prep clients as well. How do you think that's gonna go down?
I think the reality is that I see it spoke about so often. Or some of the bigger coaches that you've watched do it. Even with Kez and his coaching and his posing coaching business, he even said you've got to separate out your season in a certain sense and understand that you can do it in a sense of competing at the same shows, and I think me being me, I'll definitely try to do that first. But I think it is difficult for you to be able to be 100% in as an athlete and 100% in as a coach. You end up doing, neither and being 50-50 in both. So I'm interested to see how it will go. Obviously, stress is going to be a little bit higher, but all you can do is prep your guys as best you can, get them ready early to minimise stress on both of you. And obviously having my coach is going to help me take that kind of pressure off myself and sort of not managing myself at the same time.
Yeah. I did it last year, and it's challenging because you wake up, you've got your clients to respond to, they're on daily check-ins, then you've got to do your check-in to your coach. And I think I fell into a little bit of I'll prioritize clients first, then I'll do my check-in and send that across. And I don't know, I think next time I would definitely have try not to fall into that structure and just try and prioritize myself a little bit more. Because even on show days last year, I had clients in the same shows as me and stuff, and it's challenging because you wanna be the coach, but also you've got to be the athlete. But then I'm not going to sit backstage whilst my client's on stage.
No.
Right? I want to be in the crowd, and I'm going to be shouting and screaming for him. It's challenging, but it's exciting as well, and it's a nice feeling to share a show day with a client.
Well, this is the thing. I think the only thing that comes close to competing is watching your client compete. And I've got to say, the feeling that you get when you watch Corey up there and all those months of watching him, work hard at something. And it is, we're talking 0.1% of people can do what he's done. So just by getting on stage, you're already, in a lot of eyes, a winner. I think I love being both, but I think it will be challenging to do both at the same time for sure.
Yeah. But it will only make you a better coach as well at the end of it.
Yeah.
All these challenges and stresses you have as a coach, it only makes you a better coach. Is there any chance you guys will be maybe competing against each other? Would you maybe have a little fun with that?
We spoke about this before. I think that is actually a big goal of ours. Obviously, not even from I'm not really bothered who wins, but I'd absolutely love to share a stage with one day. That's definitely it'd have to be in an overall, wouldn't it?
Short ass you, yeah.
But yeah,
it is good. Yeah, it's good fun. I had it last year, so when I travelled to Ireland to do PCA Naturals Ireland, I went on stage with a client. He was in a different class because there was fuck all bodybuilders, like there always is in a lot of shows now. But yeah, we managed to go on stage together, and it is fun. It's good fun to just kind of be up there with each other. So yeah, I'm excited to see that, lads. If that you can both pull that off and battle it out, and overall that'll be a fun little battle to get on with.
For me, it's the pictures. It's just being able to have a picture of me and Corey on stage together. I think I just want it for the picture. So yeah, regardless of the result, if it's me or Corey, he's my client. So if he wins, fantastic. If I win, I'm an athlete, fantastic. So whichever one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. Yeah.
I don't think many people can say that they've had coach and athlete at the same time next to each other.
Yeah.
I think I've seen it. How did it by Dean at the NBW? I think last year. Yeah, it was last year. Yeah, so I've seen it a couple of times, but it is a rare thing. So for sure, it'd be nice to do that. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be cool. Definitely be cool. Right, I'm gonna load up some listener questions whilst we're coming up to the half an hour mark. See what we've got.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's warm this year. Yeah, anyone who's
Mate.
listening to this podcast, we are sat in 33-degree heat to bring you this wonderful content. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
Please do.
No, my phone's just overheated.
Jeez.
Just come up saying temperature too high, I need to cool down.
Right, okay. So got a call, got Roshan a question that says main goals for the next season and future plans. Obviously we've discussed this, but he's then also asked the question of, is the Natty IFBB route something that you guys are thinking about as well?
It's crazy to even say that, but I feel like getting my natural pro card was originally a 5-year plan for us, weren't it? And for us to tick it off in the first season, then yeah, I don't see why it can't be a goal in the future. Yeah, for sure.
I think if you look at Corey's physique, I think there's a certain uniqueness to it. I think that would translate very well to natural IFBB because he's just got a freaky midsection. And when you've got a midsection like that, I look at multiple, assisted athletes that compete. You don't really see a midsection that grainy with that level of like bubble. I've never heard someone describe a midsection as bubbly, but he has literally got, gills. So yeah, I definitely think it's something that, he should consider and he's more than capable of achieving. So we've spoken about it and it is definitely something that we're going to aim for in the years to come for sure.
Nice. Yeah.
Why not have big goals, even if at this current stage you might think they're like 5 years away, 4 years away, whatever it is.
Yeah,
You may as well have them because otherwise what's
exactly. Yeah.
What was the expectations going into this season in terms of like, was you driven by results? Obviously the first show is probably more so like, let's get on stage, let's see where you're at. But, what was the kind of in the back of your mind? Obviously, Dan, it's probably a little bit different towards what Corey was thinking because you were probably thinking, looking at it objectively and being like, he's pretty good, like he's probably going to do quite well. So yeah, why don't you lead that and then we'll get into Corey's head about where he thought he would go down.
I think naturally when you know what bodybuilding is, it's subjective. So I think you always know that, you can only control your outcomes, in terms of how you turn up, the condition you turn up in. But I think you always hear people say, oh, it's, about the process, and it is to a certain extent, but all of us have got an ego. All of us want to win. So you're saying you're going into a season and you don't want to, be in that top spot and you don't envision yourself being there. I think it's a load of bollocks, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I think we did go in looking to win. I'm not going to lie, we did. I think the assisted show was one where it really kind of confirmed, like, for later shows, this could get really, really good because that was the show that we were thinking, right, just get your feet wet in a lineup where there is no pressure on you to do what he did. So for him to perform the way he did, and I don't think it was that close. I think in the overall, I think there were some guys that were more muscle, but men's physique is the beauty of it is it's not about how heavily massed you are. It's structure, proportion, symmetry. So, and Corey's got an abundance of all those things. So yeah, we did go in to win and I'm glad that we did.
Yeah, that I would have to agree with you there. I remember the second you came off stage, Corey, I said to Dan, I was like, get him in universe, because it was, I would say that show you kind of swept the carpet really. But yeah, so what was your expectations, Corey, on your season?
It was mad. I feel like the build up, obviously, the way that me and Dan had spoken about things as well, and kind of being ready early in the position that we were in compete week, it kind of went from just making a statement to I want to win. Like I stepped on that stage like ready for war in a sense. Like I wanted to give it my all, and yeah, we did kind of come for the dub. But yeah, after the win on the Saturday, it kind of I don't know, it kind of solidified in my head a little bit that I can actually go out of there and put on a performance that people are going to enjoy and people really rate. So I feel like obviously going into the Sunday then as well, it did give me a little bit more confidence. I felt like when I was stepping on stage, I felt like rather than looking at everybody else and admiring their physique, I went on there kind of knowing what I was bringing to the table and kind of in a sense, don't want to sound cocky, but I felt like I was the man to beat in a way, which really helped. And what helped, and from another side of things, is like the package that we brought on the Saturday. I felt like we outdid on the Sunday, and then also the package that we brought for the last show of the season outdid them all. So to get better and better every show for me, yeah, meant a lot because it just showed how important obviously Dan's side of things were as well in making sure that I was stress free and cortisol was low so that we could present the best physique possible. God, it's hard.
Yeah, definitely. Did you have any kind of like struggles or anything within the prep? Any kind of hurdles that you both had to jump over?
Do you know what? I think we had a pretty
What was that,
smooth.
though?
Yeah, we had a pretty smooth diet phase, to be fair, really, didn't we? It's like we was ready early, so we had plenty of refeeds, so there weren't really much food noise from. It's like we didn't really have to like ridiculously dig deep, did we? I think cardio as well got pulled out about 3-4 weeks before the first show, so we came into them shows like relatively fresh and not having to worry about anything. So I feel like the physique kind of just spoke for itself then on stage.
Nice, nice.
Show as well. How have you found that so far?
It's not been too bad to be fair. I feel like obviously it would have been a bit different. I feel if I didn't win the pro card. I feel like the pro card has kind of just I've not been able to shut off just feel like the expectations now are through the roof. Like you've got so many more eyes on you and such. So I feel like I've not really been able to kind of shut off and take a break. I've literally just been straight into the reverse, straight back into the gym, and yeah, I go on holiday next week, so I feel like that's going to be my time to just kind of shut off and kind of take everything in from this season. Still feel like it's not actually quite sunk in, like what we have fully achieved, really.
Yeah. Did you struggle with any of, because you had such a high from the season, obviously multiple wins overall as pro card, that gives you such an adrenaline rush and such a dopamine hit. Did you kind of, when the dust kind of settled a little bit, did you kind of feel like a little bit down or have that kind of post-prep blues, so to speak?
I wouldn't say so, no. Just because of like, I'd probably say the people I have around me, and obviously Dan being Dan himself, like he'll keep you very grounded and like, listen, mate. Obviously, like this is how it is. Straight back to work now, and yeah, like we've like I said, we've got bigger goals to achieve now. So it's like the ones that we've set out, we've kind of dusted them off now. So it's now get straight back in there and start ticking off towards the next goal now.
Nice.
Can't tell you how hot
Sure.
it is in here, boy.
Right.
Yeah, I'm struggling here, sweating.
Yeah. We'll do a couple more listener questions and then we'll call it a day because I think we're all
Yeah, we're
we're
struggling.
all sweating here.
This t-shirt's
Um,
stuck.
cool. Let's do some fun ones then. If you were a girl, what category would you compete in?
Bikini.
Well, you
Men's
basically
physique is
three.
men's bikini, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I was about to say you three basically bikini anyway.
We're meant to be in
Yeah.
it.
I'd go for
Yeah, bikini.
I can see you going for it.
it. Um,
Uh,
Personal hardest muscle group to grow.
Well, we're all men's physique, aren't we? So
Legs.
I'd actually say back.
yeah,
When you frame, like 'cause obviously when you're a bit taller, I think it can be more difficult to fill out those lats. So I think
Yeah.
I've always had width. I think I've always had like a nice taper, but building density through the rear. I think when I was younger, I was on that bro split of just chest, biceps, shoulders. There was no other muscle groups when I was younger. It was just
Yeah.
those three. So I think that put, and I think that's it definitely takes more skill to train. Thinking, understanding certain cues that could really get the most out of it. Because most people just yank at a back movement.
Yeah.
I think that when you learn properly, I think you really see that growth.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I
Sure.
completely agree there,
Got a question. Did my first season at 37 years old, went okay, but aiming for 2028 next. Best tips for a growth phase?
Presuming what point they're at, if it's just into the reverse phase, I think as a natty, the most important phase is the reverse phase. I think that's where you can, really set yourself up. And I think that if you look at a prep, how you end your off season dictates your prep starting point. So using Corey as an example, we didn't let him get anything higher really than 10 kg above the stage weight. I'd been there pulling 24 off, and I think you can almost forget that it's not just a dieting contest; it's to preserve muscle. So I
yeah.
think we always knew that, you know. So back to the question, yeah, I think reverse phase is important. It will set you up to have more to push, and then how physical pushes will dictate the prep quality, I think.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, as well as he's only got a short period, so he's got basically a year or maybe 18 months of growing. So yeah, it's you kind of don't really want to throw in many dieting phases in that, maybe a year of growing and then a pre-prep and then
Yeah.
straight in. So just being cautious of that. Um, right, I'm not going to ask any of the questions because you boys probably have never listened to our podcast before, but we have a listener called Roshin, and he asks questions that we probably can't say publicly online. So
I think he actually questions on board shots and that as well. I've heard
yeah,
them.
he does. He does.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
False questions.
Anyway, fellas, let's sign off here because, like we said, we're all sweating our gonads off. Where can everyone find you, Dan?
So Instagram, D coaching, same thing on TikTok, although I haven't been posting on there very much, so definitely going to get back on that. But yeah.
Perfect. Corey, when can people find you?
Instagram at CLE_fitness_. Yeah, same for me TikTok as well, actually. But I need to get posting on there a little bit more.
Perfect. Neither of you guys do YouTube?
It's in the works.
Not yet. Yeah.
I think we'd like the idea of doing like a joint channel in the sense of like, it's quite unique, I think. I think our relationship would translate really well to YouTube. So it is something that we're working on. I'm 28, so my era wasn't social media era per se. On my personal account, I post like once every year. So, it's definitely a big adjustment, but I think it's time to be more transparent about, us as people, but also myself as a coach and wise. I think.
Perfect. Right, well, people, that has been episode 70 of the Natty Blueprint Podcast. Hopefully everyone has enjoyed. If you have, make sure you leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Boys, I want to thank you very much for coming on as well. I look forward to seeing everything you achieve together in the future, and I'm excited to see your next season together as well. So thank you for that.
Cheers, lads. Thanks for having us, lads. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, lads. See you later, boys.